Did you know that Donald Trump, the billionaire real estate mogul and current US president, wasn't always the financial powerhouse we know today? In fact, many believe he inherited all his wealth, but the truth might surprise you. While Trump did start with a sizable sum from his father, his early days were far from the glitz and glamour of his later life. In fact, the road to wealth wasn't as easy as it seemed. So, how did Trump go from struggling to stay afloat in the real estate world to becoming one of the wealthiest figures on the planet in 2025? Let's dive in. When most people think of Donald Trump, they picture a man who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, inheriting a fortune from his father. But what if I told you that the reality of his early years isn't as simple as it seems? While it's true that Trump started out with financial backing from his father, his journey to wealth involved a lot more than just being handed money. The real story behind his rise to success is filled with twists, challenges, and risks that shaped the man we know today. Understanding how Trump went from being a relatively unknown businessman to a global icon offers valuable lessons about resilience, risk-taking, and navigating the world of business in 2025. But there's more to the story than just his success. It's about how he handled adversity and turned failures into stepping stones for his later triumphs. So, what exactly happened during those early days? How did Trump transform himself from a struggling real estate developer to a household name? In this video, we'll explore the truth about his beginnings and what really set him on the path to immense wealth and fame. Stay tuned to uncover the untold story. To understand Donald Trump's rise to wealth, it's essential to look back at the context of his early life. Born into a wealthy family in 1946, Trump's father, Fred Trump, was a successful real estate developer who built and owned thousands of apartments in New York. Fred's empire laid the groundwork for his son's future, but it wasn't a guaranteed success story. In fact, many of the challenges Donald faced in the early years might surprise you. Trump's entry into the real estate world wasn't marked by immediate triumphs. In the 1970s, New York City was struggling economically. The city was filled with bankrupt buildings, abandoned properties, and rising crime rates. But rather than being discouraged, Trump saw potential in these dilapidated spaces, even when others didn't. In 1976, he took a huge risk by investing in a struggling property, the Commodore Hotel. With a major overhaul and some strategic financing, he turned it into the modern-day Grand Hyatt. This success marked the beginning of his climb, but it wasn't smooth sailing from there. The lessons from Trump's early ventures are especially relevant today, especially as we head into 2025. We live in a time where entrepreneurship is glorified, with many aspiring to build empires overnight. But Trump's story reminds us that success often comes with setbacks, risks, and taking the road less traveled. His early days weren't about simply inheriting wealth. They were about identifying opportunities in places where others saw failure. In the following sections, we'll dive into the twists and turns of his journey and explore how he navigated these challenges to create his own fortune. While many associate Donald Trump's wealth with his inheritance, the truth is far more complicated. Despite being born into a prosperous family, Trump's early ventures were full of setbacks and moments that could have derailed his career. His first major deal, the transformation of the Commodore Hotel into the Grand Hyatt, was a high-risk project that nearly failed. Trump had to secure a massive loan from the city, a risky move at a time when the city was in severe financial distress. What many don't realize is that Trump was on the brink of losing everything. Had the city not stepped in, he might have never made it past this initial hurdle. Even after this success, things didn't go smoothly. Trump continued to push boundaries, taking on high-profile real estate projects in the 1980s, including the Trump Tower. But while these projects were glamorous, they weren't without their challenges. For instance, Trump faced immense criticism when he purchased the troubled Taj Mahal Casino in Atlantic City. The casino was in dire financial straits, and Trump's decision to go all in was met with skepticism. But it wasn't just the finances that were at stake, it was Trump's reputation. If the Taj Mahal failed, it could have marked the beginning of the end for his career. So, what made him continue to take these massive risks, despite the overwhelming odds? Here's where things get interesting. Throughout his early years, Trump was often criticized for being reckless, spending more than he could afford, and relying heavily on loans from banks. His aggressive approach to real estate was seen as arrogant by many, especially as he continued to leverage his father's fortune and make deals with risky potential. But could this daring attitude have been the key to his success? And how did Trump manage to turn even his failures into stepping stones toward greater wealth? The answers are more revealing than you might think, and they offer valuable insights into the mindset of someone who isn't afraid to gamble on big ideas. Stay tuned as we uncover how these early risks shaped the man he became. The turning point in Donald Trump's early career came during the late 1980s, when his ambitious expansion plans nearly brought him to the brink of bankruptcy. His most significant gamble at the time was the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. Despite heavy criticism and mounting debt, Trump pushed ahead, pouring millions into the casino project. The Taj Mahal was supposed to be his crowning achievement, an empire of luxury and excess. But instead of a smooth rise to glory, the casino quickly became a financial disaster. The project was heavily over-leveraged, and Trump found himself drowning in debt, with the casino failing to generate enough revenue to cover its expenses. In 1990, Trump's financial empire seemed to be collapsing. The once celebrated real estate mogul was facing over $900 million in personal debt. His businesses were bleeding money, and creditors were closing in. This was a pivotal moment in his life. On paper, it seemed like Trump might never recover. Yet, against all odds, he found a way to bounce back. Rather than letting the failure define him, Trump negotiated with his creditors, striking deals that allowed him to restructure his debt. This wasn't a simple process. It was a high-stakes negotiation that required skill, persistence, and a willingness to risk everything. Trump's ability to rebound from this financial crisis demonstrated a crucial aspect of his character: resilience. He didn't give up when the odds were stacked against him. Instead, he focused on finding solutions, negotiating his way out of debt, and cutting his losses in areas that weren't working. By 1995, Trump's financial situation was improving, and by the early 2000s, he was back on top, thanks to a combination of savvy real estate moves, brand building, and media savvy. The lesson here is powerful. Trump's early wealth wasn't simply a product of inheritance or luck. It was built on risk, persistence, and the ability to navigate through crises. Even when it seemed like his empire was crumbling, Trump's refusal to quit allowed him to turn what could have been a career-ending failure into the foundation for his future success. In the world of business, this is a crucial lesson for anyone who dreams of building something great. Success isn't just about winning, it's about how you handle failure and keep pushing forward. Donald Trump's early journey to wealth wasn't as simple as inheriting money. It was about taking risks, facing failure head-on, and using setbacks as stepping stones. His ability to navigate through crises, such as the financial collapse of the Taj Mahal, reveals the importance of resilience in business. Trump's story shows that success is often built on perseverance, negotiation, and the willingness to reinvent oneself after failure. So, what does this mean for you? Whether you're starting a business or pursuing any ambitious goal, the key takeaway is clear. Your ability to bounce back from adversity is what will ultimately define your success. If you found this story of Donald Trump's rise to wealth insightful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Trump's approach to risk and failure is something we can all learn from? Make sure to subscribe for more fascinating insights into the lives of successful entrepreneurs and the lessons we can take from their journeys. And remember, if you know someone who could benefit from this story, share it with them. Keep pushing forward and never stop learning.